Good day, everyone. Welcome to the third dimension. My name is Arslan, and in today's video, we're going to talk about 50 civil engineering points, concepts, and questions which every supervisor and site engineer must be familiar with. They're very important, and they're in fact the most probable questions which you would be asked if you apply for a job or if you're on site. So you have to be familiar with these points. So let's get started. So these are 50 civil engineering points and concepts. And at number one, we have what is the height of a single story floor or a single story? Well, it's usually 11 feet. 10 to 11 feet is the height of a single story. At number two, we have what is the volume of one bag of cement? Or in other words, what volume does a one bag of cement cover? Well, 0.035 meter cube of space is covered by a one bag of cement, which is 50 kgs. So 0.035 meter cube or 1.25 feet cube. What is the weight of one bag of cement? It's 50 kgs. Then what is the initial setting time of concrete, after which it starts to harden? It's 30 minutes. And the final setting time is 10 hours. Here's the next question. What is the final setting time of ordinary Portland cement? OPC, which is the most widely and commonly used cement on the construction industry. So 10 hours. Initial setting time is 30 minutes and final setting time is 10 hours. And what is the number of bars for a rectangular column? It's 4. And what is the minimum number of bars for a circular column? It's 6. 6 bars. What is the size of a concrete cube which is used for compressive testing? It's 150 mm multiplied by 150 mm multiplied by 150 mm, or 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters by 15. And how many layers do we have to fill a concrete cube for testing? Well, it's 3 layers. And after every one layer, we have to use a rebar or any other stick, and we have to, continuously hit or continuously use that stick um, within that mixture, so that the air bubbles would be released. In a way, even what we do on construction sites, which is for the vibration. So for every layer, after every layer, we have to strike the mixture by a rebar or any other stick, and that's how the air bubbles are going to be removed. And in how many layers do you have to fill it? It's in 3 layers, so 3 different layers. And after every one layer, continuous strikes of rebar or any other stick. That's how we prepare a concrete cube for testing. And then in how many layers do we have to fill a slump cone for slump tests? It's 4 layers, and the procedure is the same as I previously explained. After every one layer, we have to strike the mixture or with continuous blows of a steel rebar or any other stick, any other vertical stick. So after every layer, continuous strikes of steel rebar, and total of 4 layers. We divide the slump cone into 4 different parts. And what is the validity of the use of cement? It's 3 months after its manufacturing date. So it has to be used within 3 months, because cement powder, it naturally loses its strength once it's manufactured. So use it within 3 months, simple as that. What is the use of the universal testing machine? It's used to test the tensile strength of steel rebars. What is the minimum curing period of concrete? It's 7 days during normal weather and 10 days during dry and hot weather. What is deflection? Deflection means temporary deformations or displacements. And this word is mostly used along beams. So because beams deflect. So deflection means temporary deformations or displacements. But once they're temporarily deformed, they will come back to their original positions once the load is removed. So that's deflection. And what is deformation? That is the opposite in a way of deflection. Deformation is permanent displacement or damage. So in the case of deformation, the shape of the beam is not going to come back to its original positions. And in the case of deflections, it is going to come back. So what is the formula for tensile strength of concrete? It's 0.7 root of FCK, and FCK stands for compressive strength. So zero, for example, if it's a 10 MPa concrete, so then 0.7 root 10, that's how we'll find the tensile strength of concrete. Which grades of concrete are called ordinary grades? Ordinary grades. So it's M10 to M20. Which grades of concrete are considered as standard concrete grades? It's M25 to M35, which is used for RCC work. So for PCC, it's M10 to M20, and for RCC works, it's M25. That's the minimum grade. And what grades of concrete are called high strength concrete grades? It's M60 to M80, which is used for structures with extreme loads or special structures, for example, dams or tunnels. And then next is which grades of concrete are considered as standard concrete? It's M25 to M35. And then how much time required to mix concrete in a mixture machine? It's 2 to 3 minutes for every batch prepared. So once a batch is uh, for every batch, mix the mixture in a mixing machine 2 to 3 minutes. So 2 to 3 minutes is the limit, or you could say the standard way of mixing. What is the minimum diameter of bars which should be used for chairs? It's 12 mm. Chairs are used in slabs between the top and the bottom reinforcement. It acts as a separator, and it's even considered as a shear reinforcement. Chairs are part of shear rebars, shear reinforcement, similarly to stirrups and ties. And next is which is the minimum cover for footing, slab, column, and beams? As you move towards the top from the bottom, the cover decreases. So for footing, it's 50 mm, for slab, it's 20 mm, for columns, it's 40 mm, and for beams, it's 20 or 25 mm. What is the minimum thickness of slab? It's 125 mm or 6 inches. And then what is the ratio of most cement grades? It's M10, M15, M20, and 25. What is the maximum water absorption allowed for bricks? It's 20% for first class bricks. What is the minimum diameter allowed for dowel bars? It's 12 mm. What is the least pH allowed for water, which is used on site? Well, it shouldn't be less than 6. The lesser the pH, the more acidic the water is, and the more damage it's going to do to the concrete. So it has to be a minimum of 6. What is the lap length of bars in compression zone? It's 24D. D is the diameter of the smallest bar among the two. What is the lap length of bars for M20 concrete? Well, for columns it's 45D, for beams it's 60D, for slab it's 60D. What is the minimum thickness of lap? It's 125 mm. What is the lap length of bars in the tension zone? It's 50 to 60D. What is segregation of concrete? Segregation is the separation of cement, sand, aggregates from the concrete mix, and it is mainly caused by wrong water-cement ratios, by improper batch mixes, excessive free falls, which is the free fall of concrete, and wrong temperatures. What is the storage procedure of cement? Well, always store cement in a dry place, and where you could, in a dry place where there's no moisture, and even make sure that the cement is not in contact with the ground. So make sure it's placed at a height and in a dry place. So what is the formula to calculate the number of stirrups in a beam? Well, it's clear span divided by center to center spacing plus 1. What are TMT bars? It's thermomechanically treated bars. What are TMX bars? TMX bars are Thermax powered bars. What are SD? It's super ductile bars. What are HYSD bars? Well, it's high yield strength deformed bars, and these are the ones which are mostly used on site. Next is what are CDC bars? Well, it's cold twisted deformed bars. What is the recommended angle of staircase? Well, the angle should be between 25 to 40 degrees. What is the minimum and maximum height of riser for residential building? It's 150 to 200 mm. And what is the minimum and maximum width of thread for residential buildings? It's 250 mm to 300 mm. What is the minimum hook length for bars? It's 9D. D is the diameter of the bars. How much bricks do we need to fill a 1 meter cube wall of 230 mm thickness? It's 496 bricks. And if you add the thickness of the mortar, then it's going to decrease by a bit. So about 475 or something close. How many bricks do we need in a 150 mm thick brick wall? It's 56. What is the bleeding of concrete? Well, bleeding is when water comes out from freshly prepared batch of concrete. It is called bleeding. What is the maximum free fall of concrete? Is 1 meter to 1.5 meters. What is the angle of hook of stirrups? It's 135 degrees. How many bars should be lapped in a bar bending zone? Not more than 50%. What is the volume of one bag of cement, or the space which one bag of cement covers? It's 0.035 meter cube. What is the weight of steel bars? Well, the formula to find out the weight of steel bars is d squared divided by 162, which would give us the unit weight for every running meter. What is the maximum free fall of concrete? It's 1.5 meters. So these were 50 civil engineering points and concepts which every engineer must be familiar with. In the next video, we are going to further discuss more points and concepts for site engineers and civil engineers. So see you soon. Thank you.